Your granddaughter died in Afghanistan 2 years ago. My Aunt Patricia told my grandfather while pocketing the $50,000 check he'd just written for my memorial fund. But Grandpa's hospice nurse Gloria was live streaming the whole conversation to my military base, where I watched from a bunker, very much alive and documenting every crime. Would my family still be dividing my inheritance when I walked through those mahogany doors with military police and fraud investigators behind me? My name is Staff Sergeant Katherine Walsh, and this is how I came back from the dead to destroy the family that buried me alive. Deployment to Afghanistan wasn't supposed to last 2 years. 6 months, maybe 9. But when our communications specialist position became critical, extensions kept coming. Limited contact with home. Operational security meant no regular calls, no social media, just occasional encrypted emails through military channels that took weeks to process. My grandfather, William Walsh, was 87 when I deployed. Sharp as ever, running his construction empire from a wheelchair after his stroke, worth approximately $40 million. He'd raised me after my parents died in a car accident when I was 12. To him, I wasn't just his granddaughter, I was his legacy. "You come back safe," he'd said at the airport, pressing a photo of my grandmother into my hand. "That's an order from your superior officer." He'd served in Vietnam. We both knew orders couldn't always be followed. 2 months into deployment, our base went dark, completely classified operations, zero external communication. For 8 months, I couldn't send a single message home. When communications resumed, I had a mountain of emails from Grandpa, increasingly confused and desperate. "Katie, where are you? Your aunt says you're missing. They're telling me things that can't be true. Please, just let me know you're alive." Then nothing. No emails for 6 months. I tried calling through military channels. His number was disconnected. I emailed my Aunt Patricia, my Uncle Thomas, my cousins. Every message bounced back or went unanswered. Finally, desperate, I contacted Grandpa's estate lawyer through his firm's website. The response chilled me. "Miss Walsh, I'm confused by your inquiry. According to our records and your family's documentation, you were killed in action 14 months ago. If this is fraud, be aware we will prosecute." Killed in action. While I was eating MREs in Kandahar, my family had murdered me on paper. I couldn't leave. Critical mission, stop-loss orders, no emergency leave for grandfather who already knew I was dead. For 10 more months, I remained deployed, legally dead to everyone but the United States Army. During those months, I learned what I could. Through a fellow soldier's wife who worked in banking, I discovered. My trust fund emptied. My college savings transferred. My portion of grandmother's jewelry sold. My name removed from all estate documents. They'd held a memorial service. Patricia gave a tearful eulogy about my heroic sacrifice. Thomas displayed a folded flag he'd bought online. They'd even commissioned a headstone with my name, birth date, and a fictional death date, March 15th, 2022, when I was actually coordinating a supply mission, very much breathing. But they'd made one mistake. One crucial, arrogant mistake. They hadn't counted on Gloria Martinez. Gloria was Grandpa's private nurse, hired through an agency when his health declined. What my family didn't know was that Gloria was a former Army nurse, wounded in Iraq, who'd spent 5 years at Walter Reed. She recognized military lies like a bloodhound recognizes scent. When Patricia started telling Grandpa I was dead, Gloria got suspicious. No death notification officers. No official letters. No military funeral. Just family members saying Katherine died and collecting checks. So Gloria did what any good soldier would do. She gathered intelligence. She installed recording devices, legal in one-party consent states for medical documentation. She photographed every document they brought. She live-streamed conversations to a cloud server. And most importantly, she reached out through veterans networks until she found someone who knew someone who could verify if Staff Sergeant Katherine Walsh was actually Kia. When she learned I was alive, she began her real mission, protecting Grandpa and gathering evidence until I could return. For 2 years, she documented everything. Patricia forging my death certificate. Thomas creating fake military documents. Cousins dividing my possessions while Grandpa cried. The family lawyer, my Uncle Robert, filing fraudulent estate changes. Checks written for my memorial fund that went to Patricia's mortgage. 400 hours of footage. Thousands of documents. Every crime cataloged with military precision. She also did something else. She kept telling Grandpa I might be alive. Sometimes they make mistakes, she'd whisper when family wasn't around. Sometimes soldiers can't communicate. Don't give me false hope, he'd say, but she saw him looking at my photos, refusing to put them away like the family demanded. Finally, March 2024, I came home. Honorable discharge, commendations for service, very much not dead. I didn't go to family first. I went to the FBI. Wire fraud, mail fraud, identity theft, elder abuse. The list of federal crimes was extensive. The FBI assigned a team immediately. We spent a week preparing, reviewing Gloria's evidence, coordinating with military legal services. Then came the day, April 1st, 2024. My zombie resurrection. The estate lawyer's office was packed for the quarterly family meeting. Patricia, Thomas, Robert, various cousins, all gathered to discuss distributions from Catherine's Memorial Trust. They'd been living off my death for 2 years. I walked in flanked by FBI agents and military police, in full dress uniform, very much alive. Patricia screamed. Actually screamed, like she'd seen a ghost. Thomas fell backward in his chair. Robert went white as paper. "Hello, family," I said calmly. "I heard you've been holding memorial services. I'm touched, really. Though I'm curious about where all the memorial fund money went, since I never actually died." "This is impossible," Patricia stammered. "We had confirmation." "From whom?" Agent Rodriguez asked, stepping forward. "Because the Department of Defense has no record of Staff Sergeant Walsh's death. They do, however, have records of her active service during the entire period you claimed she was deceased." The room erupted in chaos. Accusations, denials, cousins trying to flee. But the doors were blocked by security. "Grandpa," Robert said desperately, "you confirmed she was gone. You agreed to the distributions. While suffering from dementia induced by medications you prescribed," Gloria announced, entering the room. Medications that weren't his normal prescriptions. Medications that, coincidentally, increased his confusion during family visits. She placed a box of evidence on the table, recordings, documents, everything. "I'm his nurse. I've documented everything for 2 years. Every lie you told him. Every paper you forced him to sign while he was drugged. Every check you stole by convincing him his granddaughter was dead. You recorded us without permission," Thomas shouted. "One-party consent state," Gloria replied calmly. "And I had Mr. Walsh's written permission to record for medical documentation purposes." The FBI agents began reading rights and making arrests. Patricia for wire fraud. Thomas for forgery. Robert for elder abuse and malpractice. Cousins for conspiracy and theft. As they were let out in handcuffs, I approached Grandpa's wheelchair. He'd been brought in by Gloria, kept in a side room until the reveal. "Katie," he whispered, touching my face. "You're real?" "I'm real, Grandpa. I've been alive this whole time, fighting to get back to you." He cried then, 2 years of suppressed grief and confusion finally breaking. "They said you were gone. They had papers. Forged papers. Grandpa, I never died. I was deployed, unable to communicate, but never dead. They lied to steal from both of us. Gloria kept saying maybe you were alive. I wanted to believe her, but they all said, 'Gloria saved us both,' I said, hugging the woman who'd protected my grandfather when I couldn't. She knew military families. She knew the truth. The aftermath was swift and brutal. Patricia, Thomas, and Robert were convicted on multiple federal charges. Sentences ranged from 5 to 15 years. The cousins got probation and restitution orders. Every penny was recovered, with interest. Every property returned. Every heirloom retrieved from pawn shops and private sales. Grandpa lived another 18 months after my return. Clear-minded once off the wrong medications, he spent that time rewriting his will with legitimate lawyers, ensuring everything was ironclad. He passed peacefully in his sleep, holding my hand, knowing I was alive and safe. He left Gloria $5 million in his will, a shock to her, a fury to the extended family. But he'd been clear in his video testament. This woman saved my granddaughter's inheritance and my sanity. She stood watch when my own family betrayed me. The rest went to me with instructions to use it better than they would have. I started the Walsh Foundation for Veterans Families, helping military families maintain communication during deployments, preventing exactly what happened to us. Gloria runs it with me, bringing her unique perspective on protecting vulnerable veterans and their relatives. My family? They send letters from prison occasionally, still claiming it was a misunderstanding, that they really thought I was dead. I don't respond. Some resurrections can't be forgiven. Some families bury you alive and expect you to thank them for the funeral. But sometimes, if you're lucky, a stranger stands guard over your memory, keeping the truth alive until you can return from the dead to claim it. Gloria still works as a private nurse, but now she specializes in protecting elderly clients from family exploitation. She calls herself a medical guardian angel. I call her the woman who helped me rise from a grave I was never in.